found this in a nearby creek, thousands of dead fish, and this was not the only place the problem's popping up. These fish showed up in 3 different locations across the city. Hannah Lawrence joins us live. Hannah, any indication what caused all of this?
Josh, TVA says that there's no threat to the public right now. I'm standing on the top of the bank of that creek, and if you look down in it, you can see how low the water is. That's likely one of the reasons these fish are dead. Experts say this particular type of fish is extremely sensitive to temperature, and the sudden change in weather is also causing this. People are finding heaping piles of these small dead fish all over the Chattanooga area tonight.
I ain't never seen anything like it.
We showed Kenneth Bailey the mass sitting behind his home on Memphis Drive.
I don't know why, unless they got in the shallow water and got caught.
News Channel 9's outdoors writer Richard Sims says Bailey's theory is partially correct.
It's just the environment.
Sims also owns his own fishing company. He came out here today and identified these fish as threadfin shad. Sims says the species is a bait fish, very sensitive to temperature. He says it's likely the recent warm-up and the higher water levels that caused this.
We had high water here, and they swam up into this little stream as a refuge to get away from the extremely high flow and the cold water temperatures, and they swam up this stream just as a refuge. And then the water level dropped, and they're trapped.
TVA says this is a common winter phenomenon, and they're aware it's happening right now. In addition to this area, TVA says the fish are showing up in parts of the North Chickamauga Creek, and our crews found them at the Hidden Harbor boat ramp. While that may seem like a lot of dead fish,
there are millions and millions of them.
Sims says there's really no need for cleanup in these areas. Predators will likely come and eat the fish, and by next week, he says you'll hardly be able to tell they were ever here. Sims says during the last cold snap, the water temperature of the river dropped to about 39 degrees. That's likely why all of these fish swim up to little streams like this one. Reporting live in Chattanooga, Hannah Lawrence, News Channel 9.
Thanks, Hannah. The TVA says its fish experts have also spotted dead fish like this in the North Chickamauga Creek.
A third nor'easter in 2 weeks, taking aim at the East Coast once again. More than 13,000 are still without power from the last storm. The system's moving across the South this morning, creating dangerous driving conditions. Rob is tracking it all. Good morning, Rob.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Can you believe it? Number 3. This one's a little bit different. It's headed across the Mid-South and the Tennessee Valley with heavy snow in that area. I-65 just south of Louisville. Look at this, piling up on the roadway, sticking the snow signs, street signs there. Also around Lexington and just outside of Lexington, seeing scenes like this, 4 or 5 inches of snow. Some reports have measured 9 inches. So this is a serious snowstorm already before it even gets towards the East Coast. So winter storm warnings here. We've got winter storm warnings posted for the Northeast as this thing transforms into a coastal low, teaming up with some southern energy. And by later on tonight, we start to see it probably bomb out. It's probably going to be a bomb cyclone as far as strength goes, but it'll be a little farther offshore. That means most everybody gets snow. The farther east you go.
People are bracing and they are bundling up as the third nor'easter in 2 weeks pummels the Northeast. Right now, Boston really getting the brunt of the bitter winter blast. We have some live pictures coming into us there. There are blizzard warnings up and down the East Coast from Massachusetts to Maine. Snow could pile up to 2 feet in some areas. And if you're thinking about flying into or out of the region today, well, you might want to forget about that. CNN correspondent Allison Cossack is on the ground for us in snowy Boston. Tell us about what you're seeing, Allison.
Well, you're right about that. Traveling today definitely very difficult. On the streets, a nice thin coating of snow there forming. Some cars are going back and forth, but a lot of people heeding the warnings just to stay off the roadways. Amtrak has suspended service between New York and Boston, so good luck getting around there by train. Logan Airport has canceled hundreds of flights as well. So we're watching the snow pile up, 1 to 3 inches per hour expected at least through late afternoon for a total of 1 to 2 feet of snow in in and around the Boston area and obviously throughout the state as well. We are seeing more blizzard conditions kind of increase, conditions kind of deteriorating as the hours go on. Right now, it's a pretty postcard picture right now, but around the state, we have had hundreds of reports of limbs down, just to illustrate just how strong those winds are, because those winds are expected to gust up to 60 miles per hour in some areas of Massachusetts. If you're counting the snowfall and looking at those records, Brianna, today could break a March snow record for Boston if we see the totals get over 13 inches today. That could break a record that was set in 1956 for the snowiest day in March. Back to you.
Wow, and I could see as your cameraman was zooming in on those trees, there's snow stuck all on one side of the trees.